rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my God, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Good morning. How are you guys doing this morning? Jeez Louise, good to see you, Stormy. That is wonderful, wonderful to see you. Crafts with Nightingale, beautiful. Tracy Spencer. Oh my gosh, Debbie Webb, all you wonderful people. Hey there, hey there, hey there, hey there, and hello, man. Do we have a lot to go through with today? It is not looking good this morning, man. Oh man, oh man. Where should I start? Should I start with I think I'll start with the AP this morning because, you know, you can always trust them to see where they're at. Far too chipper this morning. Oh, no. You wouldn't believe. I had a beautiful, beautiful evening. We had my wife and I, we kicked out by the fire pit last night. Had a great stream last night reading some Grimm's fairy tales. If you missed that, go back and check it out. It was a blast, a complete blast. And then, of course, you know, just that day away from, well, a nice weekend, really, just to stay away from the news and all the craziness going on. So might as well talk about it today. Here we go. Fact focus: election officials knock down Starlink's vote rigging conspiracy theories. Yeah, that's a hilarious one. As President-elect Donald Trump begins filing key posts for his filling key posts in his second administration, social media users are pushing false claims that the 2024 election was rigged in his favor. Who would do such a thing? See, that's the beauty about X is you get community notes so people can call out this crap left and right. They just call it out and say, nope. One such narrative claims that Elon Musk facilitated, but why don't they say it? Why don't they talk about it being blue ski? Because, you know, everyone wants to call it blue sky, but it's blue ski. As we were informed, it's really blue ski. Facilitated the alleged fraud with his internet service provider Starlink manipulating the vote count through election equipment such as ballot tabulators. Starlink, subsidiary of Musk's Elon's SpaceX company, uses satellites to offer high-speed internet even in remote areas. Some rural counties used the technology during the 24 race to access their electronic poll books. Here's a closer look at those facts. The claim was billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk uses internet provider Starlink to steal the 24 election. The facts. These claims are unfounded. Election officials, including from multiple swing states, told the AP that their voting equipment doesn't use Starlink. It's not even connected to the internet. States have additional security measures to ensure that the count is accurate. According to the experts, election officials and security agencies have reported no significant issues with the 24 race. It is not possible that Starlink used a hack or change the outcome of the U.S. election, says Dave Becker, founder, executive director for Center for Election Innovative and Research. We've read some of Dave Becker's stuff before. This is simply not happened. It could not happen thanks to security measures we have in place. And these conspiracy theories echo other disinformation we've heard over the past several years. Becker further explained that the country's nearly 10,000 election jurisdictions use a wide range of voting machines that are not connected to the internet while voting occurs, and that all votes are recorded on paper ballots, which are audited by hand to confirm the results of the electronic tabulators. If anyone tried to interfere with the machines to rig the election, it would be discovered through multiple means, including reconciling the registered voters who cast ballots with the number of votes, as well as the audits. So there you go. They basically call it out and say, nope, not true. And then it goes on. It's amazing that they have this very, very long spiel on that. But whenever they were talking about Donald Trump's concerns, they really kept it very short and sweet. Good morning, ugly truckling. Let's go. It would be fine if no Starlink, no Dominion, no internet connection on these machines. Absolutely. You're on Mountain Time. Well, good to see you, Crafts. It is. I hope it's wonderful. Hey, from the Netherlands. How's it going? How's it going, Angel? Good to see you. As far as Tracy, I have an appointment this morning to have your feet checked. Well, that's interesting. The guys will do that on the internet for free. And not saying that you should post those pics, but I'm just saying there's guys that'll do that for free. They'll check out your feet. You don't have to pay a doctor for that. They'll be like, yeah, look at them toes. Oh my gosh. And then, of course, we have from Town Hall, some Democrats are admitting they lied before the election. Why would they do that? Watching Democrats try to figure out how they lost the election is a lot like watching a baby trying to take their first step. Sometimes they get very close, then they fall right on their ass. They get there eventually. Balance isn't that difficult to achieve. However, unlike walking, Democrats will lose their life balance repeatedly throughout their lives. Even though people do not forget how to walk, some of them remember how to walk, while others may never stand upright again. Let me say from the start, I'm enjoying the hell out of this. Most of these leftists on cable news are not only shocked they lost, shocked, I tell you, but they hadn't even entertained the prospect as a possibility once Camel Toe entered the race. It was theirs. The green jacket was a tap in putt away. If Donald Trump had lost, there would not have been the same level of shocking conservative media. Fox has people on staff who are genuine Democrats, and the possibility of a Harris victory was regularly mentioned on the airwaves. MSNBC is a series of bobblehead dolls glued to the dashboard of the family trickster as it goes down a dirt road. Everyone is always nodding in the same direction. When your Republicans hate the Republican nominee and the party more than Democrats do, your worldview might just be as diverse as your tramp stamp tattoo suggests you like to celebrate. However, some people on the left are coming to terms with what happened and either admitting their own mistake to regain some credibility or admitting to audiences that they lied about without actually admitting that they lied. First part of this is extremely amplified by the gang at Morning Joe. Joe Scarborough famously lectured his audience on a big start your tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, this version of Biden intellectually, analytically is the best Biden ever. Right before Biden soiled himself on the debate stage and was forced out of the race by, people like Scarborough. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it. Scarborough finished. A quick word of advice. If someone is honest, they don't spend their time insisting to you that they are honest. They don't need to. Just like the truly funny people don't spend their time insisting that they're funny, or smart people insist that they're smart. They just are. these things, and people know it. People insist that they are anything. People insisting that they are anything tend to not be those things, hence the attempted convincing. Get that? Now, Scarborough is lecturing his dwindling audience about how far out of touch the progressive left has gotten and how they and why they lost. He's not wrong. It's just odd that they never said anything like this before November 5th. But of course, after that, he discovered inflation and the cost of butter. Oh my gosh. Morning, King Paco. He is not an honest man. He's trying to reclaim his credibility and maintain his job if Comcast sells his network, which it looks like Comcast is selling MSNBC. The second category is exemplified by Ezra Klein in the New York Times in a post-election podcast. Klein admitted he knew all along that what the issues were upon which Republicans were campaigning, conservative media was reporting, while the left announced them both as liars, were actually true. Crime is up in blue cities, inflation is harming, and it's real, etc. That sense of disorder rising, right? Klein said, not just crimes, but the homeless encampments trance on the street and people jumping turnstiles in subways, crazy people on the streets. You talk to people and they're mad about it. They feel it's different than it used to be. But before the election, no media leftist would dare have said anything of the sort. It was all crime is down, even though the books had been cooked by not having the statistics from the largest Democrat-controlled cities in the country where crime problem is. They knew it, but they insisted otherwise because we got to win. Illegal aliens committed fewer crimes than we stinking Americans, they insisted, even though the collection of data on the immigration status of criminals was forbidden in blue states, making it impossible to prove. Oh, damn it. Sorry, clearing my throat. Well, a little spittle. Oof. Migrants are a boon to the economy, they cried, while demanding more money from the federal government to help support these bipedal economic stimulus packages that were starting to bankrupt city budgets with their economic growth. Cool. Conservatives living room with RJ. Are we still trying to figure out? It came down to grocery bills. Yeah, definitely. Oh, see, I told you. See, I'm telling you, you post those pics on the internet and somebody will tell you. Morning, Brandon. This is BS. Out of all these snakes, he believes everything he said, and I can only imagine the meltdowns during commercials. It has to hurt for Joe to be conservative. He's not. He's not by any way. Anyone with two brain cells to rub together knew that they were lying, but the Democrat Party audiences preferred to dine on empty calories of continued agreement rather than hear the truth. Some believed it, others simply desperately wanted to. Reality is not dependent on your belief in it, nor is it influenced by your dislike of it. It just is. Democrats are learning this lesson, waking up in bed next to an unmade train wreck with a cigarette breath and 40 more pounds than they noticed, while hammered and regretting those last 3 shots of Jaeger. Good for them. Oh my God, that's hilarious. The real question isn't just how far they will go on admitting they lied to their followers. It's whether or not those followers care long term that they were lied to. They have to know it. MSNBC has lost half of its viewership in the immediate aftermath of the election. Will they come back to realize that they've been lied to for years? Probably, yes. The walls were closing in on Trump the entire 4 years of his first administration, yet they kept returning. Robert Mueller had the goods on Trump and was going to put him away, and they came back. Some people just want to be lied to, need to be lied to. Those are the people for whom reality does no favors. That's who Democrats are. There will always be an appetite for empty calories of choir preaching in the media. It's mostly what passes for news these days. Today, if it was Democrats 2 years ago, Republicans stood lonely on a dry beach, wondering what happened to that red wave. Enjoy it now. Our victory is huge and important, but get ready to fight for everything. Many election officials promised they'd do before we called their bluffs. Also, recognize the people who preach to you about what the mob at MSNBC did to their audiences were only right by luck. They don't have any more insights or clairvoyance than the other side. They just happen to guess right now. Beware of anyone who ever tells you what you like or what you want to hear. Derek Hunter is the host of the free daily podcast. Subscribe and author of book Outrage Inc., which exposes how liberals use to fear and hatred to manipulate the masses, and host the weekly Weekend F and Review podcast, where the news is spoken about the way it deserves to be. Follow him on Twitter at Derek A. Hunter. So that was written by Derek A. Hunter. Beautiful, beautiful story. And of course, we've got some interesting one here. We've got the really interesting one here that I wanted to show you. They finally, after an entire it's been a couple of weeks now, AP finally has not completed their posting of who won and who lost. Isn't that amazing? Oh, but we have something disturbing for you. That is why I'm a little disappointed. We have some disturbing news. It's too quiet, chat. Well, that's because chat is sipping their morning coffee. They're feeling nice and dirty. Some people might be in the shower right now, listening to my sultry dulcet tones. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know what's wrong with me. We have this story from the AP. Biden authorizes Ukraine to use U.S. supplied longer range missiles for deeper strikes inside Russia. Yeah. That's what the AP says. But here's what Red State has to say about it. Lame duck Biden announces major Ukraine policy shift just weeks before Trump takes over. Maybe Joe Biden didn't get the memo. He lost the presidential election, will be vacating the White House in January. So it's an odd time to announce a significant, perhaps escalatory shift towards Ukraine as they stave off Russian aggression in the ongoing war between the two countries. Yep, that's what Biden did on Sunday, revealing that the administration has given its blessing for Ukraine President Zelensky and company to fire U.S. supplied long-range missiles at targets inside Russia. This is not good, folks. Notably, Russian Vladimir Putin has previously warned that use of such missiles would constitute an act of war, speaking in September. If the missiles will mean that NATO countries, the United States, and European countries are at war with Russia. And if this is the case, then bearing in mind the change in the essence of the conflict, we will make appropriate decisions in response to the threats that will be posed to us. That was on Thursday, September 12th. He explained some of the reasons why. Flight assignments for these missiles can, in fact, be entered by military personnel from NATO countries. Ukrainian servicemen cannot do this. And therefore, it is not a question of allowing the Ukraine regime to strike Russia with these weapons or not. It is a question of making a decision whether NATO countries directly participate in the military conflict or not. If this decision is made, it will mean nothing less than the direct participation of NATO countries, the United States, and European countries in the war in Ukraine. Putin has not yet responded to Biden's announcement on Sunday. President-elect Trump had a surprisingly friendly meeting with Biden in the White House Wednesday, during which they both stressed ensuring a smooth transmission. That makes it even weirder time to be issuing extreme significant policy changes that could drive us into a full-scale war. The American people have spoken, and they want Trump to make such decisions, not a lame duck president whose faculties have been questioned to the point where he had to step out of the presidential race. It is too important. So, what does this mean? What does this mean for us as just your regular people? What does it mean? Well, this is from Stephen Cruiser. Morning brief, and Biden wants to see how much of a mess he can make on his way out. Like his drawers weren't dirty enough. Happy birthday, Keister Bunny. Happy birthday to you. And yet, Russia is working with South Korean soldiers and encroaching us on our airspace via Alaska. Sending love and a prayer to you. I never understood that comment about immigrants doing less crime than Americans. So if that's true, then we don't need to import them. There you go. Biden is nuking both parties. A happy birthday, Bunny. Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Keister Bunny. Happy birthday. So, top of the morning briefing. Happy Monday, dear Cruiser morning briefing friends. Kaplan Wink and could trace all of his trust issues back to never having the purpose of bay leaves adequately explained to him. We have been having a rollicking good time since November 5th, right? We started to take on the feeling of a party that wasn't going to end for a very long time. Things have been going so swimmingly that I almost forgot the Democrats still have control of the executive branch. Last week, we discussed the fact that Joe Biden seemed to have been playing the fly in the ointment for camel toe throughout the post-coup campaign, despite the fact that Biden and Donald Trump seemed to enjoy their visit together last week. It's important to remember that they still don't like each other very much. Lucid Joe is and always has been dark, bitter, and combative. He may want to mess things up for his successor as well. Oh, he's still president until January 2025. Joe and Mrs. Biden have had plenty of time to be disruptive before Trump starts his stint as POTUS 47. It would appear that President lol 81 million isn't going to be content to merely spend the next couple of months enjoying the food in the White House. Though Putin may not have to escalate the war because Joe Biden, in a major U.S. policy shift as he prepares to leave office, has made a move to escalate it himself, according to a report from the AP. Biden, for the first time, has authorized the use of U.S.-supplied long-range missiles by Ukraine to strike inside Russia, according to U.S. officials and 3 people familiar with the matter. Matt wonders if this is being done to undermine Trump and make things rough for him before he gets back into the Oval Office. My town hall colleague Sarah Arnold referred to Biden as being defiant with this move. It does have let's light the place on fire to spite the landlord and the new tenants feel to it. Done it? Ooh. Hey, Max Mara, hello. How are you doing? Finally. Did anyone find him in the jungle? In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Oh yeah, November 18th. Same birthday as Megyn Kelly. She's 54. Damn. She doesn't look bad for 54. Just saying. Matt wonders if this is being done to undermine Trump. It's important to remember that every foreign policy move that Biden-Harris administration makes is boneheaded. There was already going to be a lot for Trump to handle when he gets back to Washington. Yeah. The world was a much safer place when Donald Trump was president. If he gets back into office, he will hopefully have time to undo the myriad of wrongs of the Biden-Harris administration. Nobody wants to deal with the hyperactive Vladimir Putin when he's feeling extra chaffed, especially as a first order of business. Trump can handle it, of course, but he shouldn't have to. When pondering the instability that Biden's foreign policy always introduces, one becomes acutely aware of just how much time there is between now and Inauguration Day. If Biden, perhaps egged on by his wife, wants to kick some hornet's nests, he'll have time to find a lot of those. Biden may not have any desire to make Trump's second stint atop the heap difficult, but it isn't a stretch to believe that people running his brain would like to be as awful as possible with the time that they have left. Trump derangement syndrome is very real and thus very far inaccurately in Beltway Democrats. They're not known for thinking through any of their visceral tantrums about Trump. This could get very ugly for the next couple of months. And yes, we still have a couple of months, folks. There's no reason to believe that the people surrounding Joe are going to go quietly into their political exile, even if we expect the worst. The Trump haters will find a way to plumb new depths. We've had a nice takeoff a couple of weeks ago, but we should probably buckle up for a bumpy ride and have a weird landing here. Oh my gosh. Where is Volstorm hiding? Where's Volstorm hiding? He's probably getting some rest, some much needed rest. Everything isn't awful. Yeah. Look at all the stories by these folks. PJ Media has some pretty damn good stories. That's why we've started using them and trying to move away from the AP because they're absolute garbage. But of course, we still have to pull it up because we have this right here.
План посилення України – це план перемоги, який я представив партнерам. Одним з головних пунктів є далекобійність для нашої армії. Сьогодні багато в медіа говорять про те, що ми отримали дозвіл на відповідні дії. Але удари завдають не словами. Такі речі не анонсують. Ракети самі за себе скажуть. Обов'язково. Слава Україні!
Yeah, that's what he had to say. Not impressed. Not impressed that he's going to be using missiles. And as Vladimir Putin said, he believes that the only way they can do this is if the military, NATO countries, are drinking my coffee. See? There you go, drinking his coffee. Now you know where Volstorm is hiding. This doesn't look good. This doesn't look good at all. I mean, I would dig into it more, but this is not going to look good for anybody, especially when you hear this kind of crap. The Pentagon flunked seventh straight audit, can't fully account for the $824 billion budget. As Red State reported on November 12th, President-elect Donald Trump announced that Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, the former Republican presidential candidate and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead his newly created Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. Trump said at the time, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash the excess regulation, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies, essential to save the America movement. It's a better example of the urgent need for the Department of Government Efficacy, headed by Musk and Ramaswamy, no less, but the ones that follows the link below, I'm unaware of what that is. It was reported on Friday that the Pentagon, the nation's largest government agency, failed its seventh straight audit in a row, unable to fully account for more than its $824 billion budget. Worry not, suggested Pentagon officials who stress that they're making good progress towards a clean audit in 2028. Something tells me in the minds of Elon Musk and Vivek, more than 4 years isn't good enough. According to reports, the Department of Defense, led by Undersecretary Lloyd Austin, technically earned a disclaimer of opinion, meaning it failed to provide sufficient information to auditors to form an accurate opinion. First question is why? Well, I venture to guess that the answer is because sufficient information was nowhere to be found, which raises a second question. Why not? The goal is to earn a clean audit, which means an audit finds financial statements that are accurate and qualified opinion, says that while there are omissions and concerns, the government's agency finances are generally reliable. In this case, we're talking about more than $824 billion taxpayer dollars. I suspect that Musk and Ramaswamy will be concerned about more than just accurate financials, which of course is a must, but even more importantly, the size of the Pentagon's budget and eliminating wasteful and unnecessary spending trumps all. And then pun was intended on that. Still, Undersecretary of Defense Comptroller and the Chief Financial Officer Michael McCord said in a statement that despite the disclaimer of opinion, the Defense Department has turned a corner in its understanding of the depth and the breadth of its challenges. Yay. This is the last time in the article I'll mention Elon and Vivek, but I bet just turning the corner isn't good enough either, particularly for another 4 years. McCord continued. Momentum is on our side throughout the department. There's a strong commitment and belief in our ability to achieve the unmodified audit opinion. And Friday briefing with reporters, McCord said, I do not say we failed. As I said, we have half clean opinions. We have half that are not clean opinions. So if someone had a report card that's half good and half not good, I don't know that you call that a student report card failure. We've had a lot of work to do, but I think we're making progress. Well, we're not talking about students' report card here, buddy. We're talking about close to $1 trillion and the defense and security of the United States of America. Incidentally, the Pentagon has never passed an audit since the agency became legally obligated to conduct them in 2018. Without mentioning names, as I suggested earlier, I have a feeling that the Defense Department will be held fully accountable for both its expenditures and its initiatives long before 2028. And he says, I think I'll just leave that here. As they should. I mean, I can almost comprehend how you lose track of assets as long and it's a low percentage, but how does their bank ledger not check? Absolutely. Absolutely. That is correct. Correct, Mr. Brandon. That is very correct. Here we go. I'm going to show this just so you can get an understanding of the silliness of these people. I'm going to show this here. Let me see. Nope, that is not the one I wanted to show. Give me a second. Here we go. This is from the mouth of babes, of course.
Because no is not a final answer. We need to have the mentality that no means find another way. No means try again. No means look somewhere else. No does not mean stop trying. Okay? Because no is not a...
Really? Do you think women accused of graping would agree with you? Yeah, out of the mouths of babes. Yeah, that is no, I'm not showing that. That'll get me in trouble. Yeah, that one right there will get me in trouble. There was a response. There was a response to that. And it lit up the night sky. It lit up the night sky. I'll leave this here so you can ponder it for yourself. Ponder this for yourself as this lights up the night sky. A. Okay. And A. Anna? Oh no. A-N-A-L? What? Oh. So that was the question they were posing to her. But yet we're gonna no means no, so there's still a chance. Yikes. Exactly. She's trying to make herself look like less woke. Yeah, they don't say no for an answer. Y'all refuse to concede. But we do have this big push by the left to really go after
Sounds like
Trump's
everyone on the panel kind of forgot what happened last week. I mean, Donald Trump ran and united independents, Republicans, and Democrats. I traveled with the president. I saw what he was building in Wisconsin and Michigan. He won 312 electoral college votes. and the popular vote and flip the House and flip the Senate. And the loyalty question, I have a problem with that talking point. What are you supposed to appoint when you are president and you win? The people elect you. No one here, I don't believe, was elected. You choose the people that are going to support your agenda. Barack Obama did that, Joe Biden did that, and Donald Trump is going to do that. And regarding DOJ, we just watched some of the most polarized, politicalized actions from Merrick Garland. He jailed grandmothers and pastors for praying. He arrested parents for speaking out at school boards. I mean, that was someone that directly went after Biden's political opponents, and they went after Donald Trump. So I think there's a lot of goldfish memory going on. A lot of people forgot what has transpired over the last 5 years, 8 years even. And Donald Trump, the fact is, he united so much of the country around these ideas that we would see power restored back to the American people and away from the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. And a lot of people joined his campaign because of what RFK said. I mean, yes, no one should be surprised by this, but I've never heard anyone say, oh, crap, this is not what we wanted. This is exactly what people wanted overwhelmingly and voted and elected him.
Yes. But you're going to hear a lot over the next few weeks about his picks. It's going to be as much as they possibly can going after Gates, going after Hedgewith, going after anyone they possibly can go after. That will be the complete crux of all their attacks. It will be all of the bullshit and none of the fertilizer. It's going to get worse as time goes on. In the meantime, we've got wars that are getting ready to happen in various countries. Yet people are more concerned about the little bullshit that they're playing. And not looking at the truth of all this. And this next one is something that I think should also be important. Things like this you're going to see more of right here.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, November 15th. Behind me, you can see MCC San Diego, the federal prison, where I was just recently released for my peaceful presence at the United States Capitol on January 6th. For 4 years, I felt like I had little to no support. No one really cared to know about my story. But I thank you, the American people, for absolutely proving me wrong. I've gotten a lot of support. You went out there, you voted because I wasn't able to. And thanks to you, you've reelected Donald Trump as the United States president. I look forward to the next 4 years, see if we can't clean this country up. Again, thank you for all your support. Simplifying, God bless every single one of you.
You're going to hear a lot more of that in the following months and possibly years. You're going to hear quite a bit more of that. You're going to hear a lot more of that coming out. You're going to hear a lot of this from the other side.
I'm very limited on time, Professor. And so I just have to say, when you talk about how liberals want to be around each other and cluster and conservatives don't want to be around each other and so they have to spread out, it makes people, you may not see this from, like the ivory towers of your law school, but it makes actual people in this country feel like, excuse me, you don't get to interrupt me on this time. Now, let me also suggest that when you invoke the president's son's name here, when you try to make a little joke out of referencing Barron Trump, that does not lend credibility to your argument. It makes you look mean. It makes you look like you're attacking someone's family, the minor child of the president of the United States. So let's see if we can get into the facts. To all of the witnesses, if you have personal knowledge of a single material fact in the Schiff report, please raise your hand. And let the record reflect. No personal knowledge of a single fact. And you know what? That continues on the tradition that we saw from Madam Schiff, where Ambassador Taylor could not identify an impeachable offense. Mr. Kent never met with the president. Fiona Hill never heard the president reference anything regarding military aid. Mr. Hale was unaware of any nefarious activity with aid. Colonel Vindman even rejected the new Democrat talking point that bribery was invoked here.
And you're looking at your new AG, and that is making them salty. That is making them very salty. You want to see how salty they got in a person that you'll probably not hear. Jesus, 30 days in Cali to commit fraud. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, here we have somebody that we hope to hear a lot less from right here.
All the things that make me mad about those other guys and all the things they do wrong, the one thing that I will not forgive them for is they tried to steal the joy from this country.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Trump's iconic dance move.
All right. I'm going to go grab some coffee, and I'm going to leave you with this for just a second while I go and grab some coffee. So give me a second. I'm going to pull this up. So we're going to go grab some coffee. And I got the new coffee break song here for you with the slight video. I hope you enjoy. Bring back a little bit of the old, spice it up with something new, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So hold on tight.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh in funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh in funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, and inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh in funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, to inside jokes and endless memes. We type our hearts, we spam the love. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
See, I told you. Nice, easy one. I like that one. That gives me a nice little transition over to the break. Oh my gosh. And of course you've got this wonderful one right here. That's our liberal tears of the day. Liberal tears of the day. Oh my gosh.
I'm having a delayed reaction, but I just realized that I'm too
More
scared
tears. More
to
tears.
use dating apps now. I want to go on it, and I just every message and every profile just makes me think that it could be somebody like that's emboldened by Trump. And the profile was so normal that I would never know.
Liberal tears. Oh, liberal tears. They just, they're so salty and so sweet. And you want to understand why. Poor girl. Hey, forever. How you doing? Good morning, forever, not me. Wah. You want to understand why women live longer than men? This video will explain why women live longer than men right here.
Hey, everyone that's not running, get to run.
Men's less dangerous activity. Now you understand why women live longer than men. Oh, yeah. When did TikTok become burden shifting platform? Go cry into a mirror, get a psychiatrist like a normal person. She should stop sitting on cactuses. Straight up geniuses. Yes. Yes. This is why women are living longer than men. Oh my God. And also why women will grow old and lonely. We have this lady right here who will explain exactly why women grow up old and lonely.
I'm 42, I'm child free, I'm in Massachusetts, no babysitter needed. I'm 41, I have a grown ass child, I live in Massachusetts, and this is the collab you never knew you needed. That you're gonna keep coming back to this holiday season.
Go get the gasoline. Jerry Clower. Ew. Exactly. Oh my gosh. All right. AP is at it again. Just have an awesome time in your chats. I hope so. I hope you have a good time in the chats. We have a good time with you also. Guilty as charged is lighting fires. Yes. Oh my God. Oh, where is it? It is. Where was it? Where was it that I read this earlier today? Let's see if I can find it again, because this was something. Speaking of fires, I think it is right here. No, nope. Where is it? Give me just a second. I will find it. Where did it go? There was something that was setting fires, and I read it this morning, and I was like, that is hard to believe. But where did it go? Where did it go? It's here somewhere. It was pretty important to what I was talking about earlier. Where is that? Well, it disappeared on me. Let me see if I can find it here. It was, doggone it. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. I saw this morning and said, "Oh my gosh, that's not good. It's really not good." I know that it's where did it go? So it was a story that I thought was pretty damned important. Nope, that's not it. Doggone it. That is not correct. It is somewhere in here. The story that I heard and I saw was that the person that was in charge of Maui, that particular person, and there was a whole story on this. The person that was in charge of the fires in Maui has been arrested in a sting. That was in charge of all of the fires that happened on that nice little island of Maui. Handling that response has also been busted for some kiddie stuff. No joke. No joke. Makes you wonder what's going on that particular island. It is, but you also have to remember, and I'll find the story eventually, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. But that's a little creepy. A little creepy, if you ask me. It's almost as creepy as this. Cultural Tide. AOC removes pronouns from her bio. In a way, it's a kind of a shame because over the last few years, it's been easy to spot thoroughly indoctrinated morons. They're the ones who announce what their pronouns are. One of them has been Representative Cortez, Democrat, make mine a double, who in her brief but tumultuous career in the public eye has been, among many other things, a reliable bellwether of cultural trends, which is to say she has been a doctrinaire apparat who has always, no matter what, followed the left's prevailing line. Now that the winsome AOC has just signaled a massive cultural shift by actually removing the pronouns from her ex bio, as the trans madness crested is now receding? Well, it could be, but I doubt it. Thank you, Volstorm. I appreciate that. I knew it was here somewhere. Open. There it is. Thank you very much. That is. I'll come back to that one here in a second. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Volstorm. That's absolutely wonderful. Damn. I wish I was that damn quick. Why is it not working? Okay, something funky is going on here. I don't care. Why is this acting funky? Damn it. Everything's just taking a crap on me. Weird as all get out. Hopefully everything's happening still live on the YouTubes, because sometimes things freeze up. And whenever it does, I get concerned, because we've had these issues over the past couple of days where YouTube will completely take a dump on everything that you're working on. Give me a second. Let me get this back here in a second. No. Okay. Here we go. Back to it. AOC had quietly removed the she, her designation from her bio. The pronoun designation was absurd in the first place, as if anyone needed to be told she wasn't a dude. And that wasn't what the left dictated. And so that was what the left got from AOC. In fact, in November of 2022, AOC apologized for not informing the world that she was a she, and the New York Post reported back that when someone asked her to add her pronouns to her Instagram bio, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. They used to be on there. Let me go in and check and see if I can add them. I guess they fell off, but I'll put them on right now." They're still there, although they fell off of her X account. Not only does AOC's X bio no longer list her pronouns, they also list her as a U.S. Congresswoman. This matters because up until AOC removed her pronouns from the bio, it said she was a U.S. representative. So AOC seems to have removed one instance of calling herself a woman only to add another. In fact, however, with both changes, AOC has moved to a more traditional direction. Nobody ever announced what his or her pronouns were up until a few years ago because it was blazingly obvious. On the other hand, female representatives have called the Congresswoman since the days of Congresswoman Jeanette Rankin, who was in 1917 became the first woman to serve on the U.S. House of Representatives. So what's next for AOC? Cooking classes on TikTok? Whatever she may have planned, many are taking the disappearance of her pronouns as a sign of the prevailing winds in American culture today. Ocasio-Cortez is proving to be a savvy politician who is interested in genuinely listening to her constituents. Immediately after Trump's victory, she asked her followers who voted for both her and Trump to explain why they did so. She seemed actually interested in finding out rather than in simply arrogantly hectoring them about their racism after the manner of most of her Democrat colleagues. The ditching of the pronouns seemed to be another case of watching the real trends rather than retreating into familiars. Whatever X user Paula, I'm just going to say Paul A, who has over 250,000 followers, wrote, "If you're wondering why AOC has ditched her pronouns in her bio, it might have something to do with the massive exodus from the Democrat Party by Hispanic voters. Many have conservative values and aren't thrilled with gender ideology. They care about low prices and stronger borders." Maybe it's just a mistake, as in 2022 when the pronouns fell off her Instagram account. The Washington Times reported a salient detail Friday that made it apparent that AOC's dropping of the pronouns couldn't have come as a reaction to Trump's victory. A search of the Internet Archive shows that Ms. Cortez, she didn't have her pronouns listed on her X account as far back as April 2nd, but she did include them on March 4th. Does that mean she anticipated the gender identity backlash 9 months before the election, or is a tech staffer accidentally deleting her pronouns, but nobody caught it until now? Well, the Washington Times has contacted the Congresswoman's office for comment. If it was a mistake, however, AOC has taken her sweet time about correcting it. It is Sunday afternoon at the time of this writing. It doesn't look like she's reported to the Times or added the pronouns back on her X bio. So maybe AOC is really watching, reflecting on the cultural trends. After all, in 2028, we'll be here before we know it, and the Democrats are going to have to run somebody for president. How about a principled socialist who marched with the woke abyss and then retreated back to the slightly more sensible and sane position AOC could position herself to be for the ailing Democrat Party, just what the doctor ordered? Good morning, Welsh lady. She's trying to appear woke because many more in their district voted Republican. Quite a bit. Yes, she is a see you next Tuesday. All that see you next Tuesday. And this is the story I was looking for earlier. And of course, the lovely Volstorm pulled this thing up. Maui Fire Department Battalion Chief Sean Rogers arrested and charged for sexual assault of a minor. Maui County Highway Island News. Maui Fire Department Battalion Chief Sean Rogers was arrested and charged for SA in the first degree of a minor under 14 years old. According to the Maui Police Department, he was arrested and charged for SA with the first degree and continuous SA of a minor under 14 years old. He posted bail, which was set at $150,000. No mugshot is available yet, as it's still being processed through their system. Police say that around 7 7:04 p.m., Island News received a statement from Fire Chief Brand. Today, the county of Maui was made aware that Sean Rogers, 52, a 25-year veteran of the Department of Fire and Public Safety, was arrested and charged for SA in the first degree and continuous SA of a minor under 14 years old. We're deeply concerned about the allegations regarding one of our firefighters. Mr. Rogers is not scheduled to work this week and will continue to evaluate the situation as more information is available. That is crazy. That is the fire department getting arrested for SA. Ruh-roh. They Aussie Wombat under 14. Oof. Yeah. And continue. It wasn't like this was just a one-time kind of thing. This is the person that was in charge of putting out the fires in Maui. Of course, we have the story from the AP, which is a little different thing here. AP tries a breathtaking anti-Catholic attack on Pete Hegseth, and people aren't having it. So AP's try on going after Hegseth did not look good. Over the past 24 hours, people who know Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth the best have thronged to his side in defense after a Biden administration hack said on MSNBC that Hegseth is a known white supremacist. At the time, it appeared that the radical leftist was upset that he doesn't subscribe to woke policies in the military and perhaps anywhere funded by the government, regardless of the reason. As I wrote, it was so inflammatory that the former White House aide who worked for First Lady Jill Biden felt the need to speak against such a disgusting tactic. A friend of Hegseth's, Jack Brewer, responded to the slur on an X post, writing, "This is absolutely disgusting and vile. I've known Pete for many years, and I consider him a friend. He has gone above and beyond to support and advance our work to uplift voices back Black people in America and abroad. But the machine that keeps Democrats' narratives wasn't finished spreading its dirty work. The latest claim allegedly proving the future defense chief is inveterate and a white supremacist comes via the AP, which breathlessly shared some fake news about a tattoo on his arm. And if you guys didn't see, it was the Jerusalem cross that they were referring to. Pete Hegseth, Army National Guard veteran and Fox News host nominated by Donald Trump to lead the Department of Defense, was flagged as a possible insider threat by a fellow service member due to a tattoo on his bicep that's associated with white supremacist groups. This week, however, a fellow Guard member who was the unit's security manager and on an anti-terrorism team at the time shared with the Associated Press an email he sent to the unit's leadership flagging a different tattoo reading Deuce Vault that's been used by white supremacists, concerned it was an indication of an insider threat. There's just one problem. It was easy and immediately debunked. Our town hall colleague Larry O'Connor shared a photo of the alleged iconography on a Catholic priest. He's a Catholic priest and hosts one of the most popular podcasts on the planet, Bible in a Year. Like multitudes of Christians over the centuries, he got a Jerusalem cross tattoo whenever he visited the Holy Land. This is what they're talking about right here. The Jerusalem cross is a popular tattoo for Christians who visited Jerusalem. It's been that way for 700 years. Independent journalist Celine Zito tore into the AP's bizarre anti-Catholic tattoo, also calling it breathtaking. The Jerusalem cross is one of the most recognizable symbols in the world, and just a few examples of the different types of crosses created throughout history of my faith. All my grandchildren wear one. The anti-Catholicism is news in the world is breathtaking. J.D. Vance also wasn't having it. They're attacking Pete for having a Christian motto tattooed on his arm. This is disgusting anti-Christian bigotry from the AP, and the entire organization should be ashamed of itself. They're attacking Pete for having a Christian motto tattooed on his arm. This is not appropriate. They should be ashamed, absolutely, but like the Charlottesville smear against Trump, the left uses whatever tool it can, however dishonest, to work its will. This is just part of who they are. Don't expect a retraction or a semblance of an apology from the AP anytime soon. I'll give Pete the last word because it points to a hopeful change in the new administration on how Americans' religious and their other liberties are safeguarded and respected. Pete says, Amen, JD. Anti-Christian bigotry is the media on full display. They can target me. I don't give a damn, but this type of targeting of Christians, conservatives, patriots, and everyday Americans will stop day one at Donald J. Trump's Department of Defense. Amen to that. And I hope that they shut down the AP. The AP used to have good stories. They used to tell stories that were enlightening people. But these days we've had to switch away from it because they've done nothing but show how horrible and wretched that they are. It amazes me that they're pushing hard for things. The left is pushing hard still for things that people don't agree with. Good morning, Aussie. How you doing? Crystal Desaro. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. It is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And of course, you have Saki coming out with this card.
There's obviously a lot of soul searching right now going on within the Democratic Party, and that's a good thing. But what I worry about is that in the course of all that soul searching, some Democrats might reach the wrong sweeping conclusions. And there are a lot of issues that fall into that bucket. But one in particular that stuck out to me is transgender rights. Republicans spent hundreds.
There is no such thing. If you're putting one person above another, just like there's no white rights, there's no black rights, there's no Spanish rights, it's all the same rights. It all falls under the same umbrella. So whenever people start spewing these kinds of garbage takes out, you understand that they've got no grounds to stand on.
Hundreds of millions of dollars on anti-trans ads this election cycle, including one that showed Vice President Harris talking about government funding for gender reaffirming care for prisoners and detainees.
And which she did. She was very adamant about that. She was very adamant about that particular thing. That this was not a lie. This is exactly what she did. But she backed off those policies as soon as she found it wasn't popular. No different than AOC removing her pronouns.
If that sounds like a particularly obscure issue, it is, because it applies to a tiny group of people. And it's also a policy that, by the way, was in place during the first Trump presidency. Another one of the lines that ran over and over again in those ads and throughout right-wing media is this idea that America is faced with a crisis of boys playing in girls' sports.
No, we're trying to avoid it becoming a crisis. That's where it becomes very important. You have to nip this shit in the bud quick. You know, that this is the problem, that people aren't understanding that it is not a crisis yet, but it is becoming a serious problem that needs to be looked at and avoided at all costs. And giving the reasons and the talking points and why things like this become very important. Having grown men dance naked in front of children is not appropriate. And that's a simple fact. Having a grown man go into a women's locker room, into a changing room, and dangling their junk out there is not appropriate. And once you start putting this into the perspective of things that are not appropriate, I mean, would women like it if Donald Trump showed up to their feminist speech and dangled his junk at them while doing his little Trump dance, just watching his wang all over the place? No, I think they would be pretty disgusted, as most people would be. You put it into perspective of things that are wrong, and these are things that are wrong, and people know that this is wrong. Saki knows this is wrong, but yet she's going to promote this as it's something that, it's all the GOP. No, it's just humans in nature. In nature are saying this is not correct. This is not right. Most people don't care what you do behind closed doors. They don't give two craps what you do behind closed doors. As long as it doesn't involve children, they're usually saying, well, children and animals are usually pretty much just like, you do you. Don't care. But whenever you start involving the kids, that becomes a problem.
Now, these ads created this perception that the issues of trans kids playing sports was dominating schools across the country.
No, just certain schools across the country. The problem is to, like I said, nip this thing in the bud before it becomes a problem. Where you have men showing up in female prisons and getting women knocked up because they're told they have the right pronouns. Yeah. That's the kind of crap that we're running into. Is it widespread? No, but we have to stop it before it becomes widespread.
Which is completely false. Some people got pulled into that argument. I mean, immediately after the election, Congressman Seth Moulton told the New York Times that, quote, Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face.
Really? That you're going to hang your hat on that one, Psaki? There's a reason why MSNBC is being sold. There's a reason why Comcast is getting rid of them. Don't act like wasn't a concern, Peppermint Patty. Totally agree. It's never, ever appropriate. Competition between men and women in sports should never happen. She's after. Yes.
I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that.
Well, as a Democrat, you should be afraid to say that, because if you say that as a Republican, no, that right there, you say that as a conservative or a human being, all of a sudden you're ostracized. You've got people hitting up your DMs, cussing you out because of the horrible way that you're not perceiving the threats against the trans community. That's not what it's about. Don't really care. Even the gays are saying we're sick. We are sick of the trans shit taking away from all that they've achieved over the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years. All that they've achieved, that now that these assholes, these men are coming in there just destroying it for the lesbos.
And then last weekend, Congressman Moulton came on this network to discuss those comments.
I was just speaking authentically as a dad about one of many issues where I think we're...
As a dad, he sounds like a cock.
We're just out of touch with the majority of voters. And I stand by my position. You know, maybe I didn't get...
He looks like he smelled something really bad. He just talks like he smelled something really bad. It's just so awful. Oh, so horrible. Yes. They want to get rid of the rest of the alphabet so bad. The whole bathroom thing was one of the things I was laying in bed thinking about when I should have been sleeping. That and a dead squirrel. Oh.
Get all the words exactly right. But the point is that the backlash I've received proves my point that we can't even have these discussions as a party.
No, they're not discussions. They're not discussions. You're promoting removing the rights of children and forcing parents to play along with it, or under threat of being arrested or having the child removed from the home because they're trying to do what's best raising their children. Not a good look, little ginger puff.
Look, reflection is good. But if that were actually an issue at thousands of schools across the country, it would be worthy of a debate. But there are just incredibly few examples of transgender girls playing in youth.
What is a transgender girl? It's a boy. Okay. So you're saying that boys don't play in women's sports? Is that what you're trying to say? Hey, Elka, you have a wonderful day. Also, oncology this morning. After a day, you only have go once a year. Wonderful. Look at who heads up the health section of the USA now. Okay, have a wonderful day.
Sports. And when we see those examples, there isn't evidence that these kids are a threat to safety or fairness. There's evidence.
Really? Whenever we see that they're not a threat to safety or fairness, like the girl that was assaulted in that school. No, there was no threat to safety there. There was no threat to safety there. But we also have this.
Well, this morning, the controversy over a trans athlete on the women's volleyball team over at San Jose State University is heading to court.
Today in the Bay's Bob Riddell joins us live from campus this morning. A lawsuit's being filed now, Bob.
Amazing.
Correct. Good morning, to Laura and Marcus, the co-captain of the women's volleyball team here at San Jose State, an assistant coach, and 10 other athletes from 5 other universities are party to this lawsuit. They have filed this 132-page lawsuit. You should be able to see it on your screen against the Mountain West Conference, the CSU system, and the head coach and 2 administrators. It is asking for a judge to approve an injunction to prevent this transgender player on the women's volleyball team here at San Jose State from taking part in an upcoming conference tournament. The issue of athletes biologically born male who transition to female and play women's sports has been part of the national conversation in recent years, recently with President-elect Trump even weighing in. Brooke Slusser, she's the co-captain who is part of this lawsuit. She spoke with Fox News earlier this week.
So it's amazing that other teams in the conference can stand up and just say, no, we're not doing this. And yet our school is still okay with having one person on our team that's causing all of these issues.
It's disappointing that it's come to this point because there's really been failure at every level of leadership.
Yes.
That was Marcy Smith. She's a former NCAA champion swimmer and the co-founder of the Independent Council on Women's Sports, which is financially backing this lawsuit. She says some teams forfeited games against San Jose State because of the transgender player. She wants those forfeit losses removed from those teams' records, and for San Jose State to forfeit any games that they won with the transgender player. In a statement, the Mountain West Conference said, quote, "The Mountain West Conference prioritizes the best interests of our student athletes and takes great care to adhere to NCAA and MW policies. While we are unable to comment on the pending litigation of this particular situation, we take seriously all concerns of student athlete welfare and fairness." San Jose State issued a very brief response. "We received the complaint and will review and respond appropriately. We have no further comment at this time." Due to this controversy, San Jose State has provided extra security for the team at home and away matches tomorrow. The women's volleyball team here at San Jose State is set to take on Colorado State. Reporting live here at San Jose State University, Bob Riddell, Today in the Bay.
Yep.
That right there brings me now to the next one by PJ Media, and this is part 7 of their series. If you want to read the whole thing, go to PJ Media. They will have they have a deal. If I'm not mistaken, you can get it for probably about like less than $20 for a full year on PJ Media if you use like the discount code. I think it's FIGHT. So Sodom and Gomorrah, Volume 7. Olympic lady boxing phenomenon reportedly has testicles after all. Trans woman dilates his vaginal cavity thrice daily. You might recall a couple of Sodom and Gomorrah because back I described how a hot new procedure called a phallus-preserving vinoplasty, which involves carving out a flesh wound between the scrotum and the anus, calling it a vajayjay. The reality, aside from the fact that whatever this thing is, it's definitely not a vajayjay. This flesh wound requires daily dilating ritual to help prevent the body from naturally closing a gigantic open wound susceptible to infection. This person below refers to this process as dilation, proclaims that he is dilating 3 times a day to avoid future complications. Look at what Steadize explains what he does to maintain his so-called vajayjay as directed by his healthcare professional. This is spiritual death, and it's utterly devastating to watch, and I'm not going to play it. Olympic transgender boxing phenomenon has testicles, is transgender after all, per study. In totally unsurprising news, an unearthed medical report conducted by actual endocrinologists in France all the way back to 2023 has revealed that despite the prevalent denials by his allies, Olympic boxing lady Iman Khalif reportedly has testicles after all, and that he may be the product of old-fashioned Algeria inbreeding to boot. And of course, via redo, a shocking new development has emerged in the case of Algerian boxer Iman Khalifa after a French journalist reportedly gained access to a damning medical report revealing that Khalifa has testes. The news comes in after Khalif seized a gold medal in women's boxing at the Paris Olympics. The report was drafted in June of 2023 via a collaboration between Kremlin Biache Hospital in Paris, France, and the Mohammed Labine Hospital in Algiers, Algeria. Drafted by expert endocrinologists Soyma Fendala and Jacques Young. The report reveals that Khalif is impacted by a 5-alpha reductase deficiency, a disorder of sexual development that is only found in biological males. At the end of October, French journalist Diafar Toudi obtained a copy of a thorough physical examination that was conducted on Khalif in order to verify the presence of a disorder of sexual development. According to Abdullah, the clinical report reveals that MRA determined that Khalif had no uterus, but instead had internal testicles and a microbine, resembling an enlarged cleat. A chromosomal test further confirmed that Khalif has an XY karyotype, while a hormone test found that Khalif had testosterone levels typical of males. Auda also notes that doctors suggested Khalif's parents may have been blood relatives. I'm sure we can expect an apology from the transgender activists for all their summertime gaslighting, as well as a reactive revocation of his gold medal. Barbara Kardashian, trans inmate who threatened to rape incarcerated peers in a women's prison, lands in court. Without getting into biology 101 here, women generally don't have sexual organs that one would require to do any raping, as the necessary equipment is typically reserved for the male sex by definition. But Barbie Kardashian, braving the stunning alphabet soup superstars, transverses the gender gap so that women can now too grape fellow humans with their wings. Barbie Kardashian, born Alexandro Gentile, who is serving a sentence for threatening to grape, torture, and murder his own mother, is accused of threatening to grape and murder female prison officers and inmates while he was incarcerated in the women's wing of Limerick Prison last year. Kardashian, 22, faces a total of 4 counts of making a threat to kill or cause serious harm. Prosecuting barrister John O'Sullivan told the jury that the threats involved in the mention of sexual violence, including rape and assault. The allegations against the accused are threats to kill or cause serious harm, and there may be mention of threats of rape or to cause sexual assault. The accused has identified as female, and in June 2020, the accused changed name by deed poll to Barbara Kardashian and successfully applied for a gender recognition certificate and changed from male to female on August 18th of 2020. Turf release ad demanding Nike protect women's sports from trans. The uninitiated turf, short for trans exclusionary radical feminists, is the pejorative term given by trans activists to women who believe in reality. And there was a video, but I'm not going to show that because it looks like it was too much of a Nike commercial. This is worthy and of a noble cause, but ultimate irony here is that what feminism became in its third wave iteration that birthed a kind of biological denialism that enabled most pathologically insane male members of society to assume the role of put upon marginalized minority and demand access to women's spaces for men in the first place. I believe they call this comeuppance. Here's hoping feminists at large have learned some of the lessons over the past 10 years. The me movement. Some of them started giving fetus hormones before they were born to give it features of the opposite sex. I don't think that happened in this case. I think it was a little more nefarious than that. Just a little bit more nefarious. And of course, I don't want to be the freak show party, say centrist Democrats. But before we get into that, I need to get some more coffee. So we're going to take another break. Just trying to keep the vocal cords lubed. So I will be right back in just a couple of seconds. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy the coffee break. We'll probably cut it short, but enjoy what you can of it.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk in Shizzy winners chat, we thrive. Where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, and inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy Winners chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream.
Oh, yeah, we are back. Most Democrats who aren't radical left fruitcakes knows that their party has drifted out of the mainstream and into cloud cuckoo land. Rhode Island Democrat National Committeeman Joseph Polino Jr. summed up the situation as the party seeks a new national chairman. The progressive wing of the party has to recognize, we all have to recognize, the country's not progressive and not to the far left or the far right. They're in the middle, he said. I'm going to look for a chair who's going to be talking to the center, who's going to be for the guy who drives a truck back home at the end of the day. What, are they saying that that's not where they were in the first place? Are you, oh, you got to be kidding me. They never understood. Hey, Aussie Wombat, you have a wonderful night. You have a wonderful night. It is a mental illness, exactly. It is all a mental illness. Clown show is BS. Tired of this crap. People need to be checked, put in their place. Well, and it seems like they might have realized this after they've screwed up so much. Another DNC member from Florida was even blunter, telling Political, I don't want to be the freak show party like they've branded us. You know, when you're a mom with 3 kids, you live in the middle of America, and you're just not really into politics, and you see these ads that scare the bejesus out of you. You're like, I know Trump's weird or whatever, but I would rather his weirdness that doesn't affect my kids. We don't hear about much centrist Democrats because there are very few of them, because they consider anything that doesn't buy into their trans, racist comments that want to put people into their own little buckets. And anything that goes against that is considered extreme right. They've done that on their own. The left have done that on their own. They eat themselves alive. As I'll get into that a little bit later. And you're just not really into politics, and you see these ads, and that scares the bejesus out of you. We don't hear much about those centrist Democrats because there's very few of them. They've been cowed into virtual silence. They know that deviating from the party line on gender issues or other cultural hot-button issues will lead to sanction and ostracization. And that's where you need to stand up for your beliefs, no matter what they are. An anonymous California DNC member who refused to tell Political his name blamed identity politics. I do think there's a whole sentiment that we just went too far out there on identity and allowed the Republicans to really attack us at every turn. As a result, that we've just essentially did not focus on just the everyday issues of Americans. That's because you were scared of your party, because you don't have a backbone, because you're spineless, you're a rhino, whatever it might be. That you hold these things to be true. You're a warmongering piece of garbage that has no problem with grown men messing around with kids. Several names have been bandied about to replace the current chair, Jamie Harrison. It's not surprising that all the front runners are from Midwestern or Southern states. The race for chair of the party's first real reckoning with its brutal election day outcome up in down the ballot. It's wide open. Nearly a dozen names floated as possible successors to replace Jamie Harrison, who's not expected to run again. Potential contenders include some Democrats with formidable resumes, including Democrat leader Ben Wickler, Minnesota Democrat Farmer Labor Party Ken Martin, ex-White House infrastructure czar Mitch Landrieu, and U.S. Ambassador to Japan Rahm Emanuel. We're talking about the same Rahm Emanuel that was worried that Hawaii would fall into the ocean or be flipped over because it is an island after all. Party officials are expected to wait until the next chair is seated, like early next year, to decide on formal review of Democrats' failings in the election, but the recriminations over Harris's loss to Donald Trump are already reverberating throughout the DNC and influencing members' outlook on their chair's race. And the first step the party will take is to chart its post-defeat direction. If you think that they're going away, they're going to start swinging more towards the right. Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like it also. When I was in high school, we had to fight to get sports for girls. This just makes you so mad. I'm not that good, but I competed for my friends, and as women could compete. Exactly. The names mentioned above are far more pragmatic, if not actual centrists, than the crew that created the agenda and pushed the Democrats over the cliff on November 5th. The question that will occupy Democrats for the next few months is how far towards the center the radical left will allow the party to go. Democrats have had to face hard fact that most of the energy, the money, the foot soldiers come from the far left. Radical billionaires like George Soros and Melinda Gates aren't going to give a lot of money to anyone who isn't a bomb-throwing radical. That's not a recipe for electoral success. Virgie Rollins, the DNC Black Caucus chair, said she will wait and see if someone from the Black Caucus wants to step up to run to lead the committee. But she added, no matter what, my caucus is going to be very much involved who the chair is going to be. Well, you get your caucus out of there. The addition to Winkler, Martin, Landrieu, Emanuel, potential contenders include some California like LaFonza Butler, former Maryland Governor O'Malley, defeated Sherrod Brown of Ohio, former New York Representative Max Rosen, and former New York State Michael Blake. Shasti Conrad, the Democrat Party chair for Washington State, thinks that identity politics is just fine and complains about the lack of females being considered for the DNC chair. Yeah. So you're never going to see Shasti in there. Well, here's an idea. Why don't you get Levine, Mr. Levine, the admiral there, to run the DNC? I mean, you think that as much as they're glorifying this person of transgender color or something like that, why don't you get them in there? Why aren't you promoting these people that want to dress in women's clothing and steal things from the airport? Why don't you put them in charge? I'm just saying, why don't they have someone that's trans? Put them in charge of all that. Oh, you're not seeing that happen. Why? Because if you try to put someone that's mentally unstable in that position, they're going to get lambasted. Nobody wants to deal with them. They're happy whenever they're out there causing problems in the military, but they really have an issue whenever it comes to all of this. I'm disappointed that most of the names I'm hearing are men, she said. I hope we get some strong female candidates. How about you get some strong trans candidates in there, huh? I guess, why don't you just go all hog in? One of my worries is that the bad takes is the party thinks that we've tried more diverse leadership and, well, shit, maybe that doesn't work. The bad take that identity politics may have helped sink the party in 2024. Bad ideas die harder, as other anonymous DNC member told Political. It's a white guy winter. It's too much to expect that Democrats will change their stripes and be more competitive before the 26 midterms. The radicals are going to defend those identity politics, racial gender issues, DEI, and even ESG, even if it causes them to keep losing. The centrists may try to stand up and do battle for a non-woke Democrat party, but they're likely to get slapped down and told to stay in their place. Well, you notice that Camel Toes reversed a lot of what she had to say. Most of it was what they had to say. Yeah, the cultural tide is turning, and of course, we still get to the peak crazy written by the Red State. Now rocks are racist. Huh. So Ward Clark has described on multiple occasions how Clark's law of social issue absurdity, which states that any social movement has to keep going so the graft can be kept up. That requires the issue to become more and more ridiculous, and the request for acceptance becomes demands for approval and then celebration until the whole thing descends into absurdity. This is the fundamental law of the universe, as named above. The latest example of this fundamental law comes to us from the United Kingdom, where a professor at London's Queen Mary University informed us now that rocks are racist. Yes, really. A geography professor at leading British university has described the study of rocks and the natural world as racist and linked to academy field to white supremacy. Catherine Yusof, who lectures at the prestigious Queen Mary University of London, said that the geology as a subject was riven by systematic racism and influenced heavily by colonialism. The study of prehistoric life through fossils was also branded as an enabler for racism, with the professor referring to the field of paleontology as paleontology. Arguing that geology began as a colonial practice, Professor Yusof stated in her book, Geological Life, that extraction of metals such as gold and iron had created hierarchies, pushed materialism, ravaged environments, and was the root cause of climate change. No joke. This, of course, is the purest horse squeeze. The professor has no business being anywhere near any young, impressionable skulls full of mush. Although, I suppose here in the States, we can take some comfort in knowing that this lunatic is only meddling with young British youth, not Americans. And lunatic, it seems, is not too strong a word for Professor Yusof's ravings. Claiming that geology continues to function within a white supremacist praxis, the academic referenced the theft of land, mining, and other geological practices as having led to the creation of white supremacy and resulting geotrauma. Professor Yusof's new book focuses on geology between the 17th and 19th centuries and puts forward the notion that non-white people have closer relationship to the land than white people. Before we get too wrapped up in pointing and laughing, and make no mistake, pointing and laughing is certainly warranted in this overwhelming piece of nitwittery, we shouldn't forget right here in the United States, we have our own crop of nitwits ranting about racist roads and racist trees. One of them is even President Biden's transportation secretary. When everything is racist, nothing is racist. Enough said. As Professor Yusof's book and disclaimer, I haven't read it and likely won't bother. My reading list tends to stay more on the sane side. I'm guessing it leans heavily on the native wisdom, harmony with nature angle of indigenous people. The same indigenous people, I would point out, had double-digit infant mortality and absolutely shocking rate of death in childbirth and average life expectancy in the 30s, and hunting practices that involve driving entire herd of game animals over cliffs. Every significant improvement in the human condition is that has eliminated these problems has come from Western civilization, advances of technology, agriculture, medicine, everything that makes our modern life anything other than nasty, brutish, and short have come from the same Western civilizations that this professor Yusof dismisses as racist. To our British cousins, I can say this. Why are you putting up with this jackwagon influencing your kids? Yeah. Geology is racist now. Interesting. No, this is right here. Should tell you anything about the left. Pete Buttigieg is racism is physically built into the nation's road system. No, this is from your transportation secretary here in the United States. While driving around America, if you notice the racism built physically into the road system, Secretary of Transportation Buttigieg has, and he's speaking out, talking to the Griot, the former presidential candidate, asserted that the highway in D.C. specifically was built with bigotry. He's heard. If you're in Washington, I'm told that the history of the highway is one that was built at the expense of communities of color in the D.C. area. There are stories, and I think Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and New York, Robert Moses' family saw through the construction of a lot of highways. The Griot provides examples of a possible prejudice in the planning. Biden Transportation Secretary Buttigieg noted how some cities there are overpasses that were built low in Black communities, as well as racially dividing roadways. If you think about it, much of this infrastructure was paid for and designed before the Voting Rights Act of 1965. That infrastructure includes roads, airports, schools, power grids. That was a time before Black people were at the table. Per the article, the highlighted inherent racism of American interstate and highway systems. While head off the department, the history Fox figures ain't short. There's a long history that's been fully excavated, and the interstate system, our airports, and different modes of transportation that one way or another has divided this country. But now the nation's taking a turn, as stated by the site. Equity is now being built into the soon-to-be updated black and white roadmap of yesteryear. That reworking outlet serves as part of the efforts to correct America's racist wrongs. Joe Biden is giving it a go in his Justice 40 initiative. A White House fact sheet notes the goal, as listed beneath, tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad executive order. The order creates a government-wide Justice 40 initiative with the goal of delivering 40% of the overall benefits of relevant federal investments to disadvantaged communities and tracks performance towards that goal through the establishment of an environmental justice scorecard. Washington will fight transportation inequity via government contracting. But Gig says that the U.S. Ambassador Susan Rice, who serves as director of Biden's Domestic Policy Council, is in charge of the plan to begin equally distributing minority contracts. As stated in the piece, Biden brings a targeted approach to bring jobs to the historically undeserved, in addition to literally striking down the red barriers that are dividing communities. Yeah. So I identify as a millionaire. Who's giving me the money? Yeah, I'm wondering that one too. Soros isn't just alt left. He's a Marxist eugenist in disguise, and alt left Dem. He was driving around looking for racist highways while trains with toxic chemicals were derailing. Oversized barges were knocking down bridges that weren't built with any protection. Yeah. Sometimes you hear folks say, well, look, you tried to find a black business to bid on this project, but they just weren't there. Well, if it's actually true, we've got to take responsibility for why they're not out there and build more businesses up that maybe exist but haven't been certified. Some may have struggled, and the government's here to help. Maybe they haven't been big enough to get the bonding or go through these hoops to even have a shot. They're bidding on a federal project. We've got to work on all of that. Pete notes we've got to have intention. Also, at issue, the black unemployment rate, according to U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, and such a historically low has been affected by racism. With an amen to intention, Marty makes it clear there's need to be real intention about the investments that are made there and job training, workforce development, creating opportunities and pathways to the middle class for black and brown people. That's because you keep putting people into buckets instead of bringing up the American people. You want to hinder American innovation. The prejudice that caused low unemployment rate, Pete says, wasn't just an act of neglect, but a conscious choice. And here's the biggie from Butt Gig. There's racism physically built into some of our highways, and that's why the jobs plan has specifically committed to reconnect some of the communities that were divided by these dollars. Will Pete fix the American road-oriented racism? From the sound of things, it's a mighty big job, and the former Indiana mayor's unusual choice. But how many secretaries of transportation travel by bicycle? Yeah, how many travel by bicycle? The only problem is with Pete is that it's staged. Yeah, that little picture that you're seeing right there, that little image right there that they're showing was completely staged. He actually was brought in via an SUV, unloaded his bicycle for a photo op so they could show him riding to work wearing a mask. Coffee. Oh, you always miss plenty of goodies. We always have plenty of goodies here. But we also have this. A report. Elon Musk looking to buy Alex Jones InfoWars. Really? As you may have heard, the court-ordered auction of InfoWars brand, all of its assets, went ahead last week with a preliminary sale being made to the allegedly funny satirical rag, The Onion. I remember when The Onion was funny. The forced sale of InfoWars is part of a sweeping $1 billion-plus judgment awarded to family members of the infamous Sandy Hook school shooting after Jones mused on the air that might have been staged, speculation over which is somehow in America enough to cost a journalist their career. This is obviously about delivering justice and not at all about censoring viewpoints of critical of certain powerful interests that run American politics. Never, never. Anyway, it looked last week like the final chapter of this multi-year saga has finally concluded with the sale of the company to the Onion in collusion with the families and bankrolled by the court award. But after a judge issued a new hearing to discuss the very apparent and probable unethical, illegal shenanigans the Onion allegedly engaged in to arrange the purchase, Elon Musk's lawyers stepped in. Many of you speculated he may have been interested in buying the outlet himself and potentially resurrecting it. Via NBC News, emphasis is added. Attorneys for X Corp, the firm established by Elon Musk to take over Twitter, filed a notice of appearance on Thursday in the bankruptcy case of Alex Jones's InfoWars platform. The new owners of the satirical news site The Onion had been declared the successful bidders for Jones' controversial platform alongside families of the Sandy Hook massacre victims. But this week, the Texas bankruptcy judge overhearing the case voiced concerns about the transparency of the auction process and called for a new hearing to discuss those potential issues. Nobody should feel comfortable with the results of the auction, Judge Christopher M. Lopez said. In his prior capacity with corporate media, former NBC News correspondent, current head of The Onion, Ben Collins, was tasked with attacking independent media outlets like InfoWars or PJ Media, for that matter, that express viewpoints critical of the establishment, smearing them with hate speech allegations or whatever he could concoct, and ultimately getting them erased from the information ecosystem altogether. In a statement on X, The Onion's chief executive Ben Collins, who previously covered disinformation conspiracy theories for NBC News, called assertions made this week by Jones and other InfoWars personnel that the auction had formally been overturned false, while describing other allegations as leveled as wacky. We look forward to completing this process in the next scheduled court date, Collins wrote Saturday. So to recap, a former NBC News hack whose sole job was getting rival media memory hold wants to purchase one such rival outlet in order to annihilate it. To achieve this, he colludes with Sandy Hook families who agreed to leverage their outlandish civil court judgments' levity against the same entity to make it happen, all the while acting with such a lack of transparency that even the judge overseeing the transaction won't abide it. So does that sound like justice to you? And that was written by Ben Barty, an independent Bangkok-based American journalist with opposable thumbs. Hey, Shiz, how's it going? Tom Gillis, how are you doing this morning? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well this morning. Now, there's something I want to get into, and I'm not sure how deep I want to go with it, but Democrat civil war escalates. This party turns on Pelosi. Why would they be turning on Pelosi? Could it be? Could it be, as I said before, the intra-party civil war may be brewing in the Democrat Party in the wake of Republicans' party's tremendous victory in the 2020 elections? As evidence continues to build, everyone is looking to blame someone for the loss. Fingers have been pointing at Joe Biden for not dropping out earlier, Camel Toe Harris for running a terrible campaign, Tim Walz for being, well, just Tim Walz. The party's problems appear to be getting worse as Pelosi is now being told to take a seat, get out the way. Ooh, bitch, get out the way. Among other issues, Pelosi faces mounting criticism from her Democrat colleagues for publicly undermining her successor. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Pelosi's recent remarks, particularly in an interview with the New York Times, have ignited a firestorm within the party and several Democrats privately expressing their frustration. The tension stems from Pelosi's comments suggesting that President Joe Biden should have exited the 2024 race earlier. Had that happened, there may have been other candidates in the race, she said, fueling yet another round of finger-pointing between Biden and Harris factions. While the Times article included more complimentary and caveated language than originally indicated, the damage was done. Pelosi, once the undisputed powerhouse in the House, was once sparked divisions within her own party. Some Democrats are now openly questioning Pelosi's role, with one senior lawmaker bluntly telling Axios she needs to take a seat. Others, including a member of Congressional Black Caucus, have said that her behavior is detrimental to the party's future. Making scattershot comments is just not helpful. It's damaging, said the lawmaker, adding Hakeem has been tremendously graceful and respectful of her, but I don't think she's being respectful of him. Pelosi's actions are striking a nerve at a critical moment after Democrats flopped hard in the 24 elections. There's growing discontent within the ranks. Jeffries, widely respected within the party, has found himself in the crosshairs of those seeking to blame past failures of his leadership. However, Jeffries, in a rare public acknowledgement, has taken full responsibility, telling members of the caucus, "The buck stops with me." In private conversations, Democrats have been quick to point out that Pelosi's attempt to maintain relevance in the party or undermine Jeffries' leadership. I understand this is a difficult transition for her, not being the leader, but she is not, said a member of the Black Caucus, who insisted on anonymity. Yeah, the ongoing tension has created a rift between Pelosi's and Jeffries supporters. While some continue to admire Pelosi's past accomplishments, others are beginning to view her as a roadblock to the future. She needs to understand what her new role is. White woman, take a step back. The escalating civil war between the Democrat Party has placed Pelosi's future and influence in doubt. Her colleagues are beginning to wonder whether she will finally fade into the background as promised after losing the speakership 2 years ago, or if she'll continue to meddle in the party's affairs, make money on the stock market. In the end, as one senior lawmaker put it, Pelosi's ongoing interference is not just unhelpful, it's downright damaging. She's a San Francisco liberal. What did they expect? The party is at a crossroads, and Democrats are beginning to question whether their past leader or leadership is the best person to lead them in the future. I think we all know she ain't. She isn't. Yeah, it is crazy. Crazy to say the least that they're not understanding how bad all of this is. All of this is not turning up really good. But this is the place where we are now. This is the place where we are now. And if you're wondering, we'll bring it all the way back around to where our first story was this morning about those long-range missile strikes going on in Ukraine. Ukraine is about to launch missile strikes deep into Russia. And you say, well, that's not good. Well, maybe Matt can explain it to you.
I think that the reason we are as involved in Ukraine as we are is because Afghanistan wound down. And if we still had Afghanistan to launder money through, there probably wouldn't be the need for this type of excessive involvement in Ukraine. But I think we can look at Afghanistan and we can look at what's going on here and say what a lot of these defense contractors are pushing toward is how to have an extended kind of low yield war. Like if there's a way to stretch this thing out, turn it into a 20, 30 year kind of thing where there's a whole lot of money moving around and unaccountable pots and a lot of weapons getting bought. And then, oh man, the stockpiles, well, we got to spend more money to reload those. I think that the reason we are as involved in Ukraine as we are is because Afghanistan wound down.
Yeah. Have to get going. Places to go. People to see. Things to get done. Happy Monday. See you all later. Have a good one, Tracy. We will see you very soon. Hey, Mr. Coop. Mr. Coop. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, that's the crazy thing that we run into. If you're wondering why Donald Trump is replacing his administration, it's because of people like Matt Gaetz, as compared to this hack.
We're only seeing a tip of the iceberg on this.
Do you think Jack Smith has more?
Oh yes, I would believe he has a lot more, and that's one of the things that impressed me about the indictment. It was very spare, and there were a lot of things he could have said in there. And I think there's a lot more to come. And I think they have a lot more evidence as to President Trump's state of mind.
Have you talked to Jack Smith's investigators?
I'm not going to get into that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He ran as the weakest person on the Republican ticket. Like in Pennsylvania, he came in 60,000 votes below the Republican ticket. So he's losing Republican votes. He lost at least 75,000 Republican votes in Arizona. And so, to me, there was no, and these were the female voters in the suburbs that were Republicans. These were the independents in the suburbs that ordinarily would vote Republican. So I didn't think there was a mystery as to why he lost. This is one of the reasons I oppose him for the Republican nomination, because he has this penchant for engaging in these reckless acts that create these calamitous situations and then undercut the cause he is supposed to be leading.
Trump is now facing a superseding indictment in the document.
And you're wondering why he didn't request to have Bill Barr up there again. Money, 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 money.
Case, which means more charges have been added. You know, you thought it was a serious case before. Now that these other charges have been added, do you believe it's even stronger now?
Oh yeah, it's definitely more stronger. The allegation of another kind of cover-up and obstruction attempt after getting a subpoena for the surveillance tapes, then entering into a conspiracy to delete the surveillance tapes. So,
I wasn't joking whenever I said that even people within his own administration were trying to undermine him because they didn't like that he was taking control of it. Waste of time talking to these has-beens. Oh yeah, absolutely. Hugs and hope you feel better soon. I'm sorry for your loss. Agree. Enough is not enough. Sorry. Oh no, don't you worry.
That certainly buttresses the government's case. Loyalty is a one-way street for him.
No, it's a two-way street. But you weren't loyal, were you, Bill? You were completely disloyal, dishonest, because you're a hack. Hope you feel better soon. Yeah, absolutely.
And in many ways, I think these two people down in Mar-a-Lago represent many Republicans who feel that they have to man the ramparts and defend this guy no matter what he does and go.
You don't have to defend him, but you've been on the outright attack of him, Barr.
Along with him. And I think they have to be careful or they're going to end up as part of the carnage in his wake. If he really thought he had the right to have the documents, there were umpteen ways for him to assert that when he was asked.
It was already taken care of. And guess what? He won that. He won in that one.
By the government. And during that 1.5 year period, he never did. He never asserted it in a lawful way. What did he do? He obstructed the subpoena and both subpoenas.
His attacks on Jack Smith. I mean, he calls him deranged.
To me, it's amazing that you read through the indictment and his behavior in that indictment, and it's nauseating. It's despicable behavior, whether it's criminal or not. Someone who engaged in that kind of bullying about a process that is fundamental to our system and to our self-government shouldn't be anywhere near the Oval Office. And for him to be attacking a prosecutor who is investigating that with all the...
we see how that's turning out, don't we? Oh, there's more coming out. I'm sure you'll hear more about that this week.
Epithets and so forth, which he has no basis for, as far as I can tell, is ridiculous. Now, he's an aggressive prosecutor. He's the kind of prosecutor, in my view, that if he thinks someone has committed a crime, he homes in on it and really goes.
No, it was a coordinated attack by the Department of Justice in the state of Florida, state of New York, state of Georgia, among just a few of the states that were going after Trump. If they couldn't get him one way, they would try to get him another. That's all it was. A constant attack. And they were constantly shot down for the attacks that they were creating in their own damn minds.
To try to make that case. There's no question he's aggressive, but I do not think that he's a partisan actor. He personally.
Can you just walk us through and remind us what it was like when you resigned? I mean, I know there was a meeting where when you came out and said there was no evidence of fraud that could change the election, you actually had to go to the White House that day, and you told the January 6th committee that you were taken into.
I wonder how much Barr got to pay to sit there and spew bullshit. Quite a bit. They were trying to make him relevant. They were trying to make him relevant because this was a former AG. Of course, you know, they want to talk about him as being a former. Well, there is a reason why he was former. And this right here leads me to the next story. This is why Trump always defeats the media. President-elect Donald Trump is set to serve the final term of the White House, and his enemies are making the same mistake. Just a second, I have to do something here. I already remember. Why is it giving me such a hard time? Why is this giving me a hard time? Damn it. Give me a second. I'm going to reload this. See if I can. That back, enter. There we go. Now I've got it back. Why is it giving me a hard time? That's so weird. It's giving me a hard time. It's not allowing me to show this particular story, although I'm already a member. And it's giving me absolute garbage. Well, we'll just leave that one as it is. But that right there is the reason why. It's Monday. Monday sucks. Yes. Barr's probably selling a book. At that point in time, yeah, he was, because this is an old news story, a very old news story. That was him sitting with CNN. It is Monday. Yeah, Mondays suck. Gremlins in the machine. Yeah, Mr. Coop, there's always shit in the machine. Won't buy or read that crap. There will be people that will. Mostly a book of fiction. Yeah, there was quite a few people that were trying to make their money off of going after Trump, and it just gets crazier and crazier. But yeah, he will always win against the media, because whenever you're unhinged, that's kind of crap happens. Like this. Shame Democrat pollster quits profession after failing to rig the presidential election. The liberal media swears they're unbiased. According to them, it's just weird, inexplicable quirk of fate when conservatives perpetually get the dagger and liberals always get pampered, propped up, and protected. Still, they're adamant there's no media biases. Major colleagues agree. University of Virginia, Florida State, New York University, George Mason University, Columbia University, and so does the mainstream media, which does acknowledge some bias, usually in the form of corporate power, institutional racism, or various conspiracies about the patriarchy enslaving women and minorities, but scoffs at the idea that there's any sort of political bias. The New Yorker, Palantir, LA Times, Mashable. But bravo to New York Magazine for taking the brave, sophisticated stance that, okay, media bias might exist, but it's too pro-Republican. Clearly, then, the only viable solution is for the media to be even more anti-Trump. Since 2024, leader of the left-wing bias and partisan reporting was a pollster, Ann Seltzer, the head of Seltzer and Company of West Des Moines. In the final days of the presidential election, Seltzer released a blockbuster Iowa poll that showed Donald Trump losing the ruby red state had previously won in 2016 and 2020. According to Seltzer, Harris was now beating Trump 47% to 44%. It was a bombshell report. The media couldn't get enough. Politico, Axios, Fox, Roll Call, and more called Seltzer's Iowa poll the gold standard in polling. I guess gold isn't as valuable as it once was, because on election day, Camel Toe Harris only received 42.5% of the Iowa vote. And Seltzer's gold standard Iowa poll was off by a whopping 16 points. In the polling profession, there's just no excuse for blowing a poll. Well, like the left does blow quite a bit. 16 points, especially in a state where you've been a pollster since 1997. That's nearly 30 years of experience in a small, mostly homogenous state. Today, Ann Seltzer announced her retirement from election polling. Would I have liked to make this announcement after the final poll aligned with election day results? Of course not. It's ironic that it's just the opposite. I'm proud of the work I've done for the Register, for the Detroit Free Press, for the Indianapolis Star, for Public News, and for other public and private organizations interested in elections. They were great clients and happy with my work. Emphasis added. 3 quick hits. One, her final poll wasn't ironic at all. There's no irony in blowing a predictive poll by 16 points. Sulzer is in the prediction business, and she screwed up that prediction. That's on you, not the mysterious forces of irony. Two, I'm very sure that those media outlets were all great clients and happy with her work. After all, she gave them exactly what they wanted to hear. Three, here are the two most likely reasons why an inexperienced gold standard pollster would miss an election in her own hometown by 16 points: accidental incompetence or deliberate corruption. Accidental incompetence is certainly a possibility. Hey, everyone makes mistakes. Obviously, if you're constantly botching polls by 16 points, you're probably not a very good pollster, but as a one-off, anyone could have a bad day. Maybe that's all that happened. But after choking on the thick cloud of leftist lies and media biases, I'd be dishonest if I didn't acknowledge the possibility of a deliberate, intentional corruption. For 8 long years, the liberal political media cabal has been calling Trump a Yahtzee. They labeled him a danger to democracy and a wannabe fascist. And then, in the closing days of a tightly contested presidential race, Iowa's gold standard pollster releases a poll that was wholly disconnected from reality. Sorry, but that sounds like the kind of thing that was designed to depress Republican turnout and instill last-minute excitement amongst liberal voters. In a resignation column, Seltzer claimed that she told the Des Moines Register that she wouldn't be renewing her 24 contract before the last poll was even released. I suppose she included this information so nobody would think she was fired, but it also builds a circumstantial case of culpability. If Seltzer knew she was quitting from election polls, what did she have to lose by putting her finger on the scale and trying to manipulate the outcome? It was worth noting that Seltzer's last 8 Iowa polls all exaggerated the Democrats' strength and downplayed the Republicans. Either way, and Seltzer has left the building. It's unusual to screw up so badly, but if you have to leave your profession in the rearview mirror, hopefully the next pollster will be more accurate and more honest. Yeah. Tom, I just thought you might be avoiding another storm. You avoided another storm? You want to write a book? I would buy it. No, my book would be boring. It really would be. My book would be probably the most boring thing you could ever possibly see. And of course, we have another one of those. What do they call them? Dems.
There seems to be a lot of talk about the dessert I requested for my birthday show. I never mentioned the name of the bakery or the location. It does seem
yeah, she just doesn't want to be sued.
a little odd that when we called a few weeks before my birthday and we were told they couldn't process the order for my birthday because of an equipment failure, but somehow they were able to accept an order of a different 48 of the same dessert when somebody else called without using my name.
Did you just decide to Jussie Smollett this whole situation so that you can make yourself look like a victim, because it pays to make yourself look like a victim when you're a liberal? You just get that empathy from everybody who automatically likes to see anybody who doesn't align with your perspective as an evil villain who's representing the fascists. What else can we expect from a host from The View? They are liars or purveyors of disinformation.
Yeah. Yeah. What in the hell? All right. We have this one. In case you don't remember this, how wrong people get it a lot of times.
But there's a time when you snuck into the room to see what the...
I sneaked into the room. Snuck isn't a word, Conan. And you went to Harvard and you should know that.
Yeah, Conan totally owned her on that one. Yeah. Yeah, here is that story I was telling you about earlier. Here's that story I told you I had.
And that breaking news, new details in the indictment of a Maui fire chief charged with sex assault and continuous sexual assault of a minor. The new court documents say Battalion Chief Sean Rogers began abusing the victim in 2019 when she was about 12 years old, and the alleged assaults continued for about 2.5 years. Rogers, who is 52 years old, turned himself in today after a warrant was issued for his arrest last week. Rogers is a 25-year veteran of the Department of Fire and Public Safety and was the incident commander during the August wildfires. Today, MFD Chief Brad Ventura said in a statement, "We are deeply concerned about the allegations. Mr. Rogers is not scheduled to work this week, and we will continue to evaluate this situation as more information is available."
Yeah, that was the story. And if you want to wonder, or ever wonder, why the left failed so much at this past election, we can provide example of this same kind of garbage. This right here explains it so much. Right here.
First of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker against name, chapter, pronoun?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay.
Quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload. And that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over, like...
I see that no one's clapping for me. It could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. We have a lot of disabled comrades, and a lot of those are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind. So it's up to us to modify that space to make sure that everybody is able to move in the ways that they need to move. And additionally, with the noise issue, like avoid hissing, avoid waving banners, right? Because there's all sorts of things. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody else. We have quiet rooms that are available. There's a range of options of these, right? Please don't go into that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because we don't want to put people in stressful situations that they don't consent to, right? And there are right-wing infiltrators who are trying to get in here, but it's going to be really traumatic for people if we're not making an affirmative effort to de-escalate each other and de-escalate ourselves, right? Take a deep breath. And feel better before you say anything. Don't really talk to anybody who doesn't have a credential, especially if you claim to be from the press. You have no idea who that person is. Please do not talk to anybody who identifies themselves as a member of the press without having credentials. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to MAGA assholes. We're almost there. But thank you. We are going to be visited tomorrow by some MAGA protesters. Is there anybody here who's done abortion clinic escort work? By all means, don't talk to cops if there are cops there for any reason at all, right? And if you do see someone talking to cops, let the marshals know. We are safe and we are strong because there's power in collective work.
Yeah. Yeah. That right there is why they kept losing. This is why they keep losing. People like Psaki should be sacked. And MSNBC is about to lose big time.
We have seen nominations before from presidents of both parties where there have been ethical and substantive issues. Let's not forget, we had a nominee for HHS secretary in this administration who had never dealt with healthcare before being nominated. So I think that the notion that
I'm not here to defend. He was the attorney general for the state of California. This is a little bit of a different.
He experienced suing healthcare companies, but not anything to do with healthcare. We have seen nominations.
Yeah. Psaki just got her ass handed to her. I'll be back. Think your deodorant is attacking me. Wow, that sounds pretty hot. They're just letting the fart goblins loose. Yes, they are just letting the fart goblins loose. And it goes on and on and on. It will continue to go on and on and on. Don't be so amazed when you see all of this crap coming down on them. It will go to show how bad it is. That the left is trying to bring these things up and make it sound like, oh, it's all because of the right and their racism, their policies, their big policies. No, it is not. It is because they have done this to the point where people are sick of their garbage. They're kicking them out. And the left is really, really so angered over it and triggered by it. They're very, very much triggered by it. They're very much triggered by Trump. They really want to see them. They really want to see him go down.
Hey, Trump supporters, let me ask you, are you happy now?
Almost.
You have control of the Supreme Court. Donald Trump's your new president. You now have the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Yeah.
All branches of government. It's under your control.
Yep.
Are you happy?
Not yet.
Are you finally happy?
No, not yet.
You've been promising for the last 10 years you were going to take America back again, that you were going to rule America. Well, you've won.
Not rule it.
You've won it all. Are you happy?
That we were going to let people
Are
rule
you
themselves.
satisfied?
Not yet.
Are you dancing? Are you rejoicing?
Nope.
Does it make you feel good?
Yeah.
That about 90% of all the black folks here in the country feel like their civil rights are in danger?
What?
Does that make you happy? Does
That's
it make
not
you
how it
happy
works.
that all gay and lesbian and trans people feel threatened by our
Really?
government?
They feel threatened by our government now. That's not how I see it. Yeah, it is party time. That's not how I see it. I see it that they're actually being given the same chance and opportunity as the rest of Americans are to fail or succeed on their own merit. Like humans. Sir, are you misinformed? Yes, he must be misinformed. But, you have to remember who the party was that enslaved these people in the first place.
Are you happy? Are you happy that the same people, thousands, that built hanging
Thousands.
gallows on the steps of the Capitol and shattered windows?
Hanging gallows, shattered windows. What is he talking about? This is a session of kindergarten superfeels. Exactly.
Killed people are now back in the highest.
Who'd they kill? Huh? Who did You're talking about January 6th. Who did they kill? Nobody. The answer is 0. None. Nada. Zilch. What happened on January 6th? People trespassed. And there's people that have been spending the past 4 years for that. Yeah.
As seats of government. That's what you want? Are you happy?
We're happy, but
we
not,
have,
not until we've made America the stalwart that it used to be. Then we'll be happy. Then we'll be happy when people like you are allowed to continuously speak and share your opinions. Because if we lived in the world where you want to live, your voice would have been shut down a long time ago. You wouldn't even be allowed to do this. You wouldn't be allowed to get up here and badmouth somebody. You'd never be able to do it because you would have wrong think.
The person that Donald Trump wants to appoint as the head of the Justice Department of the United States of America, who's been under investigation for having sex with minors and sex trafficking.
Which also, they dropped that investigation because there was no proof of that and it was a lie. Amazing how that works, isn't it?
Are you happy? That's what you want for the country. You have a Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, who's going to be the head of Obamacare.
A former Democrat. Remember this. Former Democrat. And guess what? Robert Kennedy never got a chance to even primary under the Democrat ticket. He had to go independent just to get out there and do anything. Oh, and so everyone is supposed to know the SL sign for clapping. Yep.
HHS and the CDC that believes that vaccines and medicines that have saved millions of lives are wackadoodle and kook.
Well, that's not what he said. But if you would listen to what Kennedy said about it, why not look into it? Why not look into that? Why not look into that? What he has said. But no, you're going to take this guy's word for it. Okay.
That's what you wanted. When you gather in your churches in the morning across the country.
Yeah, the church is like this means anything because see, I don't go to church. I don't do that. That's not me. So I guess you're not talking about me.
And you sing about victory in Jesus. And you've made almost half of the other side of the country want to vomit when they think about coming into your churches and your.
Really? Oh, you don't like churches either? I don't vomit. It's not my gig.
Place of worship and the denigration that they see of the Christ that has been done. You rejoice in that? That makes you happy. Yeah. Be happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You won. Be happy.
Yeah, we will. And we will soak up all your tears. Every damn one of them. If you need sleep, rest, take care of yourself. Yes. Yes. No trespassing. It's our house. No, it is your house, but we'll go into that some other time. We're not going into that today. But you can be guaranteed that there will be people that will probably still serve time. As Trump said, he plans on exiling a lot of those people and removing all of what had burdened them down. All of those charges will be dropped, but he's going to be reviewing those individually because there were people that were destroying parts of that. So those will be taken care of and dealt with in due time. So all of those that think that Trump is just going to magically walk in there and exonerate all of these people will be sadly mistaken, because that's not what's going to happen. We would hope that that's not what happens. But it also should be done completely and favorably to the rule of law, not this pretend rule of law. Get past your 4 GSDs and come on in my house. Okay, I don't know what that means. Damn, he's a quarter call. Someone who gives a damn. Damn, I love that, Belinda. Good morning. Good morning. Listen, people, it's only 4 years. Exactly. It's only 4 years. Look what happened the past 4 years. Was there righteous indignation whenever we watched the left party on the failings of the Republicans? Yeah. You won everything for 4 years, and you had control of it. And look at where we're at after those 4 years. You have people that are scared to come out of their houses, to go about and travel. You have people still wearing face diapers. You have people that their businesses were lost, that'll never come back. It didn't matter whether they're black, white, gay, straight, Republican, Democrat. If you're wondering why the left lost, it's because they lost the narrative. They lost the narrative. The left lost the narrative of what this country is about. They wanted to push forth an agenda that people didn't agree with. Left, right, center, it didn't matter. They got sick of hearing the same lies over and over again. They got sick of watching the media tell them that they were what they knew to not be true. And with that, we're going to have probably a derailed stream today. It might be a little bit later. Maybe a little bit later. I want you guys to come check it out. Don't know where it's going to be yet. We'll talk about that at a later time. But we will be having one tonight, and I might do a pre-stream for that one. We will see. We will see if I do a pre-stream for that, because it'll be a very long day, which means I'll have streamed 3 times on a Monday. Wow, I need to stop doing that kind of crap. Oh, it is going to be a beautiful day. Everybody go grab some coffee. Have a blast. Have a blast. This life is too short to be getting all stressed out over the dumb shit. And trust me, there's lots of dumb shit out there today. And if you want to avoid a lot of that dumb shit, then I would suggest going over, seeing the broken baker, give him some of the love that is needed, because it is Baker. Everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the flip side. Peace, y'all.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
And shine, coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
What are you waiting for? Hit the like button.